There, we've had the jump scare, we got that out of the way, now we can get down to business. Telling Andrew that he was wrong. No, wait, that wasn't it. What was it again? I was doing... talking about the Five Nights at Freddy's 4 trailer video and my theory on it, which may or may not actually include telling Andrew that he's wrong. So Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Now this game series has become huge in its own right. No other game out there is like it, and its following is just as big. Arguably one of the biggest things that makes Scott Cawthon's Five Nights at Freddy's videos so amazing is that he actually lets the fans create the lore and the plot of the stories. Because if there's one thing that Scott Cawthon does really well, is he only leaves little hints here and there throughout the games as to what we believe the story actually is. He doesn't give any confirmation or decline any theories created by fans or fellow YouTubers. So you can imagine conversations getting really heated up about that. You know what, dude, I think your idea is stupid. How could you say that about that being the sequence in which the games come out? Yeah, I don't want to hear about it. Your ideas are so dumb. They're so far. How could you totally believe that that's what happens when it's obvious in the game right here that it shows this point in the series? You're not even playing, go on about it, you know what? You don't even know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about, you know? I don't do this. So let's start at the beginning, shall we? First off, you are introduced to a series of words in red lettering. Now stop right there. Right away, I wish to point out how this is different from the other trailers. In the other trailers, they always look like they were being relayed off of some kind of a computer or electronic device, but in this one, they're not. They're normal lettering. This leads me to believe that there are no electronics in this game, mainly being that there's no cameras, and if there's no cameras, that means you don't have any security footage to help you check on the animatronics. Back to the words. The third set of words says, "What have you brought home?" Now, I believe this is literally just talking about the animatronics, not, Andrew, some cryptic inner demonic thought process trauma thing. My theory is that someone in your household, now it could be a father figure or, you know, creepy older brother, actually bought these animatronics from the auction that ended the third game. In the last article in the last Five Nights at Freddy's game, it was mentioned that all of the remaining pieces that survived the fire were auctioned off to the public. That means anybody could have bought these things. This would explain why the animatronics we can clearly see, Foxy and Bonnie, why they look so destroyed and decrepit. Even for Five Nights at Freddy characters, these guys look like crap. Well, they've just been through a fire, so of course they ain't gonna be pretty.
Does this blazed aftermath effect make me look pretty?
Now, I believe it was Andrew that actually mentioned the eyes in these animatronics look way too new to be something that just went through a fire. And to that I say, they're being restored. A lot of collectors, when they buy certain items that have a lot of meaning, instead of leaving them in their decrepit forms, they'll actually try to restore them. So it would make sense that the eyes would seem new compared to everything else, because they'd want to start with the internal parts first, and the electronics, being their eyes, that would be their first hit. So they would want to probably restore them to their original glory, to what they once looked like. Let's face it, they weren't glorious in the first game. Plus, I don't think it would be that odd for somebody to actually buy these items and bring them into their home. Hell, look at that guy that actually built a full-size working Freddy and keeps it in his house. Now, next thing is, who are you? I'm Sarah. No, who are you playing in the game? Andrew and I can both agree that you're obviously most likely playing as a child. Now, the toys and decoration in the room obviously suggest that you are a child, or at least in a child's room. But I believe what makes it even more so likely that you are a child is the angle in which you're looking at things. When you're looking through the door, you're looking upwards, looking at the animatronics, you're looking upwards. You're obviously a short person or an adult who's crawling and sitting on the floor 24/7. I think I'll go with the latter. So obviously you have the scare factor that kids have when they're home alone in the dark. That's obvious. But what's also even more so to make me think that you are a child are some of the mechanics in the games themselves. Check the closet. Now that's like the #1 boogeyman scary hiding place for kids, is the closet. So it would make sense that he would think something is in there, and it just so happens to be Foxy's head. And when you check behind you, you see the Fredlings. But not only do you see them sitting on the bed, watch as they slowly look like they are fleeing under the bed. Also a scary place for kids, which also actually come to the Fredlings. I believe that they are also from the third game and the things that were auctioned off. You could actually see little tiny Fredlings on the tabletop of the third game, and it was featured in the article of things to be auctioned off. So I believe these 3 Fredlings are also from the third game. So if you are a kid, this leads me back to another one of the sentences in the opening sequence. What do you think you see? It's obviously suggesting that you're a kid and you think you are seeing these things. Now, could be anything from, like in the third Five Nights at Freddy game where they're phantoms and you're actually not seeing these things and you're hallucinating, but I believe it's actually more of a case of because you're a child alone in your home at night, you think you're seeing these as truly outrageous and demonic creatures when maybe they aren't as much. Now, after the trailer came out, Cawthon released some promotional pictures of the characters that he has in the game released so far. But there were some words attached to them to lead to even more questions. Was it me? Was it me? Or me? I feel like they're rather asking 2 questions. Who is it that's about to get you? Or who got them? Remember how I said these games are very good at not actually telling us anything, or at least concrete evidence of certain aspects of the game? Mainly being that argument after argument has come across who killed the 4 children that were stuffed into the animatronic suits in the first Five Nights at Freddy's game. For the most part, fans can agree that it was the purple guy, and he dressed as the animatronics, lured the kids into the back room, and killed them. But how do we know for sure which costume he used? Yes, there are people that believed he used Golden Bonnie, and that's what Springtrap is, but what if he altered costumes? Springtrap was just the last one he was in. Maybe he was Bonnie when he killed some of them. Maybe Chica. Maybe Foxy. As for the little Springtrap plushie dude, he baffles me a little bit. Now, Andrew and I have had one hell of a time trying to figure out where the Springtrap plushie actually is in the house, because we're convinced that you can't move in that house, at least not yet. So, my belief is, just because the wallpaper doesn't match on the 2 halls that you can see, who's to say that you can't look behind you in the halls? Because it's obviously you can lean out into the halls and see Chica or Bonnie. But what about behind you? Who's to say there's a wall directly back there? Maybe that's where Springtrap actually is. He's behind you further down the hallway. Well, that's all I can come up with so far for the new Five Nights at Freddy's 4 game with the trailer that we've been given and what very little pieces of information we can. But I have to say, even though I personally have not actually played the Five Nights at Freddy's games, if there's one thing that they do bring to the table that is truly amazing, that I have so much respect for, is critical thinking. It makes you think. It's not spoon-fed information like some of the AAA games are doing these days, where it's like, here's the plot line, here's everything in the past you need to know. No, Scott Cawthon lets you figure that out, which is something not enough games do today. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. Be sure to check in on Tuesdays when Andrew uploads and Fridays when I, Sarah, upload. Until then, geek on. Okay, I'm done now. I'm good, okay. I'm done.